Meet Anastasia Yeliseyeva from Kokshetau. Today she is a celebrated art doll maker. Her work is instantly recognizable. What is most remarkable is that she is entirely self-taught. She mastered this exceptionally intricate craft from scratch whilst on maternity leave, simply by watching tutorials online. She has loved drawing since she was a little girl, but as an adult, she was searching for a new form of self-expression. Then she came across a single photograph online, an extraordinary art doll. That one image stopped her in her tracks. It changed her life completely and led her into the world of fine art and to her own creative business.
I saw a doll by some artist. I don't even remember whose it was. And I just knew, that's it. That's what I want to do. Because when you make a doll, you draw on every skill you have. And you are constantly learning something new. Every single doll takes all of you. Take the ethnic motifs in my work, for example. To get them right, you have to study the ornament, to understand what it means. You have to know so much, and that is precisely what makes it so captivating. I have been devoted to this for 15 years now. This is my life.
The baby whose arrival inspired that life-changing maternity leave is now 16. And all these years, Anastasia has never stopped honing her craft, working with different materials and mastering complex new techniques. Today, even though her dolls are in high demand, she has chosen to remain an independent artist. Commissions come with strict deadlines and obligations, so she focuses on her own large-scale collections. Though, as she says, she is always open to an exciting collaboration. She admits it is pure creative drive. She simply cannot stop until the image she sketched on paper becomes a perfect living doll.
An image is born in my head. It is already almost finished there. And then I try to bring it to life, to release it into the real world. And I do absolutely everything myself. Sculpting the face, the hands, the feet, making the body. My dolls are mixed media. If I need to solder a frame or file something down, I do it all myself. Painting, hair, everything. The hairstyles, I think that comes from my past as a hairdresser. After year 9, I spent 3 years training as a hairdresser, and it has really come in handy.
Anastasia's story proves that when you have real passion, you do not need diplomas. She never took sewing lessons, yet she designs every exquisite costume for her characters from the ground up. For her, doll making is a chance to be a sculptor, a seamstress, and a set designer all at once. Behind every finished piece are hours of research. When she fell in love with ethnic-style dolls, she delved deep, studying the history of Kazakh national ornaments and how they are traditionally woven into costume.
Кукольному делу нет, я не училась. Ну, как сказать, не училась сама, да, где-то.
I never formally studied doll making. I picked it up bit by bit. Back then, there was almost nothing to learn from. Now you can buy any masterclass you like. My journey was much harder. All I had was an online forum where true masters would answer my questions. I'm so grateful to them. You gather knowledge crumb by crumb. Most of it is just trial and error. You try it one way, it doesn't work, so you try another. But my background in design helped too. Drawing, painting, and you keep asking teachers, studying anatomy. And I'm still learning to this day.
И продолжаешь учиться вот по сей день, если честно.
Today, Anastasia is living proof that a doll can be high art. Alongside her souvenirs, she has created around 120 large-scale signature works. For us, she revealed how this fragile beauty is brought to life.
Я работаю с тремя.
I work with 3 kinds of self-hardening clays, all made specifically for figures, statuettes, and dolls. I use La Doll. It is a Japanese clay, really fascinating, made from cellulose, white clay, and plasticizers. Then there is Darby Rock. It contains marble dust. It is Belgian. And I also work with liquid plastic, also called cold porcelain. It is a casting compound. That is a completely different process. For that, I first have to sculpt a master model, say a head. Then I make a plaster mold of that head, and only then do I pour in the liquid material, flumo.
Жидкую массу.
Anastasia found her first buyers almost as soon as she dared to show her work. She deliberately avoids mass production. Every stitch and brush stroke is meticulously done by hand. It was not long before art lovers, both in Kazakhstan and far beyond, took notice. Her handmade pieces won people over with their soul and originality. Today, her orders span the globe. The name of this craftswoman from Kazakhstan is recognized internationally.
Я помню свою
I remember my very first sale. It went to Australia. The buyer actually bought 2 at once. Yes, now I remember. It was a dreamer girl sitting on a little sofa. That was the first doll I ever sold, and it went abroad straight away.
Now, more than 10,000 people follow her on Instagram, and her TikTok audience is growing rapidly. Through these platforms, she does not merely showcase new characters, she is building an international community of people who appreciate beauty.
У меня куклы, наверное, 80%, они уехали куда-то. То есть их покупали.
About 80% of my dolls have gone abroad. Even the ones in national costume, they have gone to England, to France. My most recent one has just gone to Latvia.
Ну, она, да, уехала. У меня Россия, очень много.
A great many go to Russia. We have a large diaspora there, in St. Petersburg and Moscow. They buy them a great deal.
Кстати, тот же Санкт-Петербург, Москва, прям хорошо.
And further afield, France, Canada, Australia, China, America. I have several pieces in America, Latvia, Montenegro 3 times. The list is really quite long.
Латвию 3 раза отправляла. Черногория. Ну, вообще список, в принципе, большой, наверное.
One of the most effective ways to make a name for yourself and grow as an artist is to take part in professional exhibitions. But every trip demands an enormous amount of emotional and financial commitment. That is why Anastasia only chooses projects that truly matter for her development. She works extensively with venues at home in Kazakhstan, but in recent years she has increasingly stepped onto the world stage. One of her most recent trips was to the Time of Dolls Festival in Moscow and St. Petersburg, a prestigious event that brings together leading artists to exchange ideas and find new inspiration.
Мой первый опыт именно вот.
That was my first time at such a huge exhibition. The response was overwhelming. So many people, because it is a large city where people truly live and breathe art. I always say St. Petersburg is like Almaty in that sense. The energy you receive from the audience is incredible.
То есть там отклик такой колоссальный от людей.
A genuine breakthrough came with a project marking the 60th anniversary of the first human spaceflight. At the Kosteyev Museum in Almaty, Anastasia unveiled 2 figures of Yuri Gagarin. When she posted them online, Russian art critics took notice and invited her to an international exhibition. Her technique was highly praised, and the Museum of Cosmonautics acquired both pieces. Today, her work forms part of that celebrated Moscow collection.
Было 2 фигуры Юрия Гагарина.
I made 2 figures of Yuri Gagarin. one in his spacesuit, that first flight suit, and the other in his pilot uniform. They were the same size, just in different outfits, different looks. It was the first time I went to Moscow with that project, and from the entire exhibition, the museum acquired several works, including my two Gagarins. They stayed there.
Юрий, 2. Они остались, да, там.
Recently, Anastasia held a week-long practical workshop in Astana. For years, she focused solely on her own art and exhibitions, and it was only this year that she decided to launch her signature course. For now, she teaches only in the capital, but invitations are already arriving from other regions. For her, these gatherings are a two-way process, a chance to pass on the secrets of a rare craft and to find fresh ideas for her next major collection.
Знаете, на мои мастер-классы приходят люди, которых это...
People come to my workshop because this art has truly moved them, and they want to create something with their own hands. I don't teach young children, 16 and up. 16 is still young, but it is a more mature age. I have students from 16 to retirement age. Some have spent their entire lives in a completely different, non-creative profession and now want to make something by hand. Others have dreamt since childhood of making their own doll and finally have the chance.
Приходят и делают, создают сами.
Я немножечко уже занималась куклами, и с Настей познакомилась на выставке, когда она выставляла.
I had already dabbled in dolls, and I met Nastya at an exhibition where she was showing her work. I fell in love with it and wanted to go further, to really immerse myself in the art of doll making.
Считаю, что Анастасия, она очень художник с большим опытом.
Anastasia is an artist with such vast experience, and I wanted to learn those little secrets that only she knows, to become more professional myself.
Продвигаться в созданию своей куклы, быть более профессиональным мастером.
Год назад я вышла на пенсию.
I retired a year ago and suddenly had time on my hands. So I decided to finally make my childhood dream come true. I am utterly overwhelmed and so grateful to Nastyusha for teaching me to do all this with my own hands. For the first time, I am discovering just how painstaking this work is, how much patience and attention it demands.
Требующий терпения, внимания.
It is always easier to build a business and dream big when your family stands behind you. The success of this little world of dolls is built upon love and understanding at home. Anastasia's story demonstrates how personal talent truly flourishes when it is supported by those closest to you.
When I am working on a doll, sewing something, trimming, drilling, my husband helps me, my father helps me too. They live right next door, so it is very convenient. And then there's everyday life. That is important too, freeing up time to create, especially when you are preparing for an exhibition. When you are in that creative flow and you simply cannot tear yourself away, my mother helps me enormously with that. My daughter is very creative too. She loves miniatures, making tiny things, sculpting, drawing, and my son is creative as well.
There was a time when she made her dolls in her living room. Today she has her own fully equipped studio. Now she keeps only the finished dolls at home. In her workshop, she can devote herself entirely to her art.
Чтобы куклу слепить.
To make my dolls harmonious, anatomically correct, I had to add at all my other training a separate study of sculpture, anatomical sculpture. I studied remotely, online at the School of Sculpture and Anatomy in St. Petersburg. This is my coursework, Al Pacino in sculpting clay. This is an écorché. I sculpt all of this as part of my studies. So portrait anatomy was studied inside and out. Every little bone, cartilage, ligament, everything. An artist really must know anatomy, at least the basic volumes and proportions.
Анатомию знать обязательно художник. Хотя бы вот какие-то такие основные объемы и пропорции.
The artist pays particular attention to materials. Clay, for instance, requires careful storage in a humid environment. You simply cannot create a quality figure from dried-out clay. She orders hair for her heroines from specialist suppliers, usually high-grade Angora goat or llama wool. And she prefers to work on several dolls at once, developing their stories in parallel.
Куклы, во-первых, куклы разные.
The dolls are all different. The techniques are different, the sizes are different, plus sourcing materials. So on average, I would say it takes anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months. Because I work on several at a time, I try to batch the stages. There are so many stages in doll making. Some are rather messy. Casting, sculpting, sanding. There is dust everywhere. So I try to do it like this. I sculpt several sets of parts, sand them. Then I clean everything thoroughly. Then I paint several dolls at once, and then comes another stage, assembling them all. And then I place them on the shelf and begin creating their looks one by one. Sewing the clothes, dressing them.
По очереди создавать образ, одевать, шить одежду.
Narrative projects that bring together several figures are the most complex and most precious in her collection. A prime example is her unique ensemble of 4 figures and her iconic diptych Gagarin. Anastasia also proudly showed us her solo works. A special place amongst them belongs to Shulpan, a doll you simply cannot take your eyes off. Her costume is a true masterpiece of handwork. The artist has adorned it with the finest beadwork, exclusive embroidery, and dressed her heroine in rare vintage textiles.
Ее зовут Шолпан, да, она такая у меня.
Her name is Shulpan. She's like a little star. Everything about her sparkles. She's in a much more festive costume. Everything is embroidered by hand, every single stitch. I start with ready-made fabric. This one is actually a combination of 2 fabrics. This fabric was specifically made for dolls, with fragments of national ornaments. And this is all Japanese seed beads, silk ribbon. I'm a great believer in natural materials, so when it comes to fabrics, it is cotton, silk, cotton velvet. This, by the way, is antique velvet. And this is an antique cotton ribbon. We doll artists, we love anything old and vintage. This is cotton velvet too. Everything is sewn completely by hand, every little detail. You can take the headdress off. These little dolls, these girls, they are more for interiors, for collecting, for decorating your home. They are called boudoir dolls. They stand with a special display stand, but they are posable. You can sit them down.
А так они подвижны, то есть их можно посадить.
For Anastasia, dolls are a statement of art, not merely a business. At the heart of every piece is an idea, and to bring it to life takes months of patience and total dedication. What began as a casual hobby long ago has become her life's work, and her characters have found homes in private collections across the world. True art cannot be measured in financial terms. Its value lies in the emotional response it evokes and the cultural legacy it leaves behind. Anastasia Yeliseyeva has already written her name into that story, turning a small dream into a remarkable triumph far beyond her native Kazakhstan.